Good afternoon, traders. Joseph here from Eightcap. Welcome to this week's market wrap-up. So what a week we had. It had a few big ups and downs. If you're a crypto trader or investor, it was a pretty heartbreaking week, to be honest. But we'll get to crypto in a bit. There was really two sides of the story this week. There was crypto and then everything else. So that's how different the week was, really, wasn't it? So we'll get to crypto in a moment. I know, look, a lot of people are interested in it, but there's also a lot of people who don't really trade it. But it definitely was a huge story this week, and it was some of the moves we saw were sort of reminiscent of 2008. I don't know how many of you sort of were watching that in real time, but yeah, we saw some crazy swings the days after the financial crisis kicked off, and some of those moves on Bitcoin were some of the biggest moves I've seen. So like especially talking about coins like Solana. I remember it was just a few days ago we woke up and saw figures of minus 47%, and I sort of scratched my eyes and thought to myself, is that true? Am I half asleep still? But yeah, it was true. So quite amazing stuff to watch and see if this is your thing that you do. So we'll kick off. So look, really, first things first, definitely if you want to see everything we're doing, definitely subscribe. We've got some fantastic analysts that are presenting during the week, and they're quite regular with Eightcap now, so definitely subscribe if you want to stay up to date with everything that's coming out, and take advantage of all the great content that's coming out through our YouTube channel at the moment. So also there's Twitter and Facebook, but definitely through TradingView and YouTube, that's some of the great stuff is coming out live as well, with a lot of these guys doing live presentations. So we will get into it. So as I said, I'm sort of breaking this up into two sections. There'll be the crypto section, and then there's going to be everything basically versus the US dollar. That's including stock indices as well. So, and we'll get to this morning's real interesting development as well. So it all really kicked off last Friday with the non-farm payrolls for the USD. We can see that strong move down, which carried into this week. We saw a quick recovery, and then we had to see the CPI data that came out this morning. So the week was was pretty it's a pretty good week risk-wise. We saw some good moves, and then yesterday things really got underway. So Monday was a great day as well. Monday night for stock indices, we saw that nice rally. There was a bit of a pause in the buying, and then this morning. So I was up watching this as it was released last night. Now we saw CPI come in at 0.4%. That was lower than the 0.6% expected. Year on year came in at 7.7%. Well, quite a bit below the 7.9%. And core CPI came in at 0.3%, quite well below the 0.5%. Now, that sort of shook the markets up a fair bit, and it did have a little bit of a influence on crypto, but it really had its key influence on stocks and the US dollar. So all we've been hearing for a period of time now from the Fed is inflation is hot. Things aren't good, and we're seeing rate rises. We saw one recently, 75 points, and the hawkish tone was there, and it was doing some damage, and we can just see that. So if we zoom out a bit, until recently, we can just see what that tone and the inflation was doing. So we don't have to explain it to you. It's just a very strong rally for the USD. Things have started to change a bit. We started to see a little bit of a change. We did see a few fight-back rallies, but from last Friday's non-farm payroll, off it went. And this is what we are watching now. Whether this is going to be a turning trend or just a correction, no one knows just yet. But definitely things are starting to swing back towards the risk markets, and it's it's quite good to see. Definitely if you're buying those assets and you're holding those assets. So let's just take a look at some of the stock indices. Currencies obviously all rallied really well, and we're seeing this rally continue on the Aussie, and this is the same story on the Euro and the same story on the pound. So we all remember that flash crash on the pound. Well, the pound is back above areas where it even started, so that's just like a bit of a distant memory now, isn't it? So, price stays still that 1.1699 area, and stock indices, things have been fantastic. So the German 30 and the US 30, really key leaders at the moment. We're seeing some fantastic moves from them, as well as some of the other indexes like the CAC, for instance. The CAC is another one that really does jet about at times, and we can see it's already, nearly back up to that high we saw back in August. So, we do all concentrate on those major indexes, and that's fine, but definitely some of these, smaller, not smaller indexes, but sort of tier B indexes, they're not in the big kind of top 5 or 3. They definitely can be, worth your while checking out and watching, as we can see here with the CAC. Its performance has been fantastic over the last, 3 to 4 weeks. And the US 30, for instance, as well, has been really fantastic. It's been leading the US indexes. It's been primarily the one I've been focusing on trading on the short term from a 6-hour chart. The Nasdaq, which has been sort of beat down, and it's still not fantastic, but it's still sitting around this resistance here. But yesterday's session was incredible, and it was like a real return in faith to tech stocks, and we saw a very dramatic rally. It was a huge rally. We haven't seen a rally like that for really a fair while. It was a 7%er, and we also saw 5.5% on the S&P, which does have a fair decent tech component, so no surprises there. But they are still lagging the Dow and some of the other ones, so that's why I just pointed those two out first. But there has been a real turn on the Nasdaq. It's a good sign, and hopefully things will continue. But we'll need to see the tone from the Fed basically moving forward from here. So if they're going to still remain as hawkish as possible, do we see anything that sort of rattles the current return to the shift away from thinking that we're going to continue to see this real hawkish tone? So will anything upset that? We'll have to wait and see as the future comes into fruition. But definitely at the moment, indexes are firing. We're seeing some of the risk markets firing. Gold's firing. We've seen a fantastic week on gold. I mean, so far this week, it's been an amazing week. And one of our speakers, Mr. Silver, was speaking about gold last week. I did a report on it this week as well. So far this week, we've seen, close, nearly 4.75% added on gold, which is very big for gold. That's a big move. And we're seeing a real strong weekly trend break here. So dynamics look to be slowly shifting, but we will still need to see a little bit more confirmation just to really set our minds that there is a shift. We want to see a pullback first and a higher low, then a new high. Well, I'd like to see that just on the weekly to say that things have changed. But we've seen a move down. We've seen some accumulation here, and we've got our breakout. So very good signs. Some of the other markets as well, so they're all starting to test those trends, which is good to see. So again, we'll just need to see if the Fed does change its tune a little bit, and if that's going to really help ramp up risk market demand. So definitely keep your eyes on some of those indexes and currencies depending on what you trade. And like with the Dow now, you'll be looking for a new pullback, and then we'd want to see a move up to test that 34,173 area. Any break above that level, and things are looking really positive. So on the weekly as well for the US 30, we have had that. I was seeing a bit of an inverse head and shoulders here. You can see this shoulder here. I can see a head here. So we want to know, I would hate to, will we see a big deep pullback and then form that next shoulder? I don't know, but we'll wait and see. But at the moment, I was thinking we're going to see a bit more of a pullback before we saw this rally, but that didn't really eventuate. So now we will finish on crypto markets. So things for crypto, pretty crazy this week. We started the week with a bit of weakness. It was after the weekend, had a bit of a flat session. And then, the FTX issue really hit the market. So FTX is a major exchange. Now, they've basically, from what I understand, have failed. Binance, we saw this selling earlier this week, and that's where it really started hitting the market. But we saw those lows. Binance came in and said that they were going to pick up their non-US assets. That fell through, and then we saw that really crippling day with that plunge, and that was the day I was talking about. just basically a day ago, and we saw, Solana, for instance. I mean, it was absolutely, just destroyed. So we can just quickly see, this week, for instance, on Solana, at one stage we saw, one morning we saw nearly 50% wiped off its value, and here we can see 66.81% was taken off its value to the low. So incredible, not massive amounts, but very big percentage numbers. Just when we really started to think that crypto was starting to find a bit of a base, possibly starting to recover a little bit, we saw this come into play, and it was a bit of a dagger in the heart, to be honest with you, because crypto did look like it was just starting to find, some sort of bit of peace after what we have seen recently. But it failed to really hold, and we just saw some of those real plunges. But now look, yesterday after the CPI, we did see a real strong recovery. BNB at one stage, geez, it was really rallying hard, as was Cardano, and we saw a rally on BNB. It went all the way up, so 27% point, and Cardano was, which ADA was quite similar as well. We saw an extreme fight back rally, all the way back up to this kind of 33% area. It's just amazing swings. It really was one. I don't know. I don't trade crypto on an intraday basis, but if you were trading on an intraday basis, I'd love to hear from you in the last 3 days. I mean, if it was some amazing opportunities, if there was some amazing profit to be made, if it was hard to trade those swings, or love to hear from you. So if you were trading intraday, please let us know how the last 2 to 3 days were, and some of the swings that we saw. It looked like it could have been paradise if you were a pretty savvy intraday trader. So the future now, I'm really not sure. We've seen a fair bit of selling today. We've seen 6% down on Ethereum. I think Bitcoin was a little bit over 4% at one stage, and the other markets, we're seeing a fair bit of selling. But Litecoin is sort of bucking the trend at the moment. We're seeing some of the small coins like sorry, it was not small coin, MXR, which is Monroe, trading at 9% higher at this stage, and we are seeing some other blue. But the top 10, the top 25 are mainly lower today. So we'd like to just see if we're going to see a bucket of people trying to get out after that recovery rallies yesterday, or if we are going to see a bit more of a write-off of what happened with FTX, and we do see a bit more further recovery. But definitely at the moment, I'm not really calling anything. It's very fragile at the moment, in my opinion, for crypto. I think there's a lot of nerves in the market, and there's a lot of people just really trying to sort out, do they want to be in the market? And then there's a lot of value buyers coming in saying, these are really fantastic prices. We should be in there right now. So we'll give it some time. I do have some crypto coins myself. I'm not, I won't be jumping about just yet. I'm going to see if that was an overreaction, and if we do find a bit of a support floor. But definitely if we did see these lows break, that would be a real worry, and it could be telling us something quite dire is going on. But until we do see some breaks of those lows we saw yesterday, hopefully the market will continue just to try and find a bit of a floor and a bit of stability. I think the FTX news is really out there now. The market really knows about it, and that was the key shock that really shook everything up. So hopefully that one might be just starting to move on. I'm not exactly sure if that is the case, but from the way the markets acted yesterday, and if they can hold those lows from yesterday today, that could be a good sign that maybe it is starting to be sort of factored in. So that's some of the key things that happened this week. It was a very exciting week. It was a very dramatic week, and there was quite a few polar opposites, because crypto has been a risk market, but obviously it was getting taken down pretty badly due to some of the internals inside the crypto world. But then we saw on the other side, stocks and currencies that were really just powering ahead to the US dollar. So quite dramatic differences there. So moving on to next week, we will be doing a week ahead next Monday, but definitely keep an eye on some of those bigger markets. The Nasdaq, for instance, we want to see if it can break this resistance point here. Some of the key currencies here, we want to see if they can continue to push higher, and if the mood and momentum and everything has switched, and if we're going to see some these new trends, continue to push higher. We just want to see a series of higher lows and higher highs to continue that, and we are, wanting to see if the next pullbacks do confirm these trend breaks that we are seeing now, and if we do have finally a shift in momentum that is against the US dollar, and if the US dollar is going to continue to push lower and continue to hold these trend breaks. So that's it for now. So yeah, again, please subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all our analysis. And being a Friday, we hope you have a fantastic Friday and Friday night, and we wish you all a safe and enjoyable weekend. So bye for now, and good trading to you.